Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, May 21st, 2017, and this is your fun fact of the day. Your Ball of Facts Sunday, we continue on the story of Abraham and his son Isaac. Now here's the story. Abraham's a little bit older, actually significantly older. He knows he's not very far from the end of his life. We don't actually know exactly how far he is, but in wanting to care for his son, he wants his son to take a wife from someone in his familial line. Not necessarily a sister, a distant cousin, someone from his native land. So Abraham makes a servant promise to bring a wife for Isaac. Not such a hard task. Here's how that story unfolded. The servant traveled to Mesopotamia, the region in the Middle East where Abraham was originally from. While he was there, he prayed to God. Prayed a lot, actually. That God would show him a specific sign as far as the woman he was supposed to bring back for Isaac to marry. The sign he prayed for was a woman would appear, draw water from a well, give him a drink and his camels that he'd been traveling with. As he was praying this, he hadn't even finished these words, as the Bible specifies. He was still praying these words when a woman named Rebekah came up to the well that he was near, drew some water from it, offered him a drink, and gave his camels a drink as well. Rebekah is actually Abraham's grandniece. It's his brother's granddaughter. She was also unbetrothed and a virgin at this time, so perfect marrying qualifications. As Rebekah was drawing the water for this servant and for his camels, he watched her, just taking in to see if this is actually who God had sent him to bring back to Isaac. He inquires of Rebekah, "What's your family lineage?" She tells him. The servant makes the connection, "Yes, you are indeed from the family. I see that you've done exactly as I asked God to show me to do. I think you're the one I'm supposed to bring back for my master's son Isaac." The servant travels with Rebekah back to her household, where her father, Laban, talks to Rebekah about what's happened. Rebekah tells him the story. Laban comes out of his tent, greets the servant, and brings him inside. Hospitality. Good step. The servant recounts why he's in the area and tells Laban everything that he's there for. Laban, upon hearing this, does a God-honoring move and says, "Yes, take Rebekah over to be Isaac's wife. All yours." The servant paid the full bride price, as was customary back then, so Rebekah wasn't just given away. So after discussing, settling all the details as far as how this marriage would work, Laban blesses his daughter, prays for health, well-being, and children and offspring to come from her, and sends her away with the servant back to Abraham, back to Isaac more specifically. Servant returns with Rebekah to Isaac, recounts the whole story to Isaac. Isaac takes Rebekah, marries her, enjoys marriage. This is the first time we actually hear of love being mentioned in a specific sense in the Bible, whereas this is after Sarah has died, so Isaac is without his mom, and Isaac is extremely comforted by being with Rebekah. We're supposed to gather from the verse that Isaac was pretty grief-stricken after being without his mom for so long, and that Rebekah helped bring about healing through that grief process. Isaac, like a good husband, prayed for Rebekah, and that she would bear children. Like her mother-in-law, she was barren, so Isaac prayed a lot. And after praying for quite some time, God reveals that there's going to be two sons inside of Rebekah at some point, who would each head a nation, and that these nations would not exactly live in peace and prosperity together. Firstborns of these two nations would quarrel, basically forever, even in the womb, and that the prophecy of the younger being ruler over the older serving the younger, was also given concerning these two children. These two children would become Jacob and Esau. Esau, born first, was very hairy, very, very red hair hairy. And as Esau comes out, Jacob is right behind, clutching Esau's ankle. So it's a little bit of a human train coming out there. Esau became a skilled hunter, and Jacob became a man of the field. So Jacob, being at home a little more, being a little closer to his mom, and subsequently his dad, was a little bit quieter in person, but was also able to learn a lot more about the Lord and serve him a little more directly than Esau was, who, say, was gone all day, or maybe weeks at a time, depending on how his hunting trips went, and was not able to learn quite so readily from his parents. Like father, like son, as the story takes, as concerning Isaac and Rebekah, takes a little bit of a turn, and we see how Isaac and Rebekah, and their family, travels to a land, the land of Gerar, Gerar. And Isaac gets the bright idea, hey, if you say you're my wife, they might kill me and take you for their own. But if you say you're my sister, it's like Abraham didn't even tell him, by the way, this is a bad idea, don't do it. It doesn't work. Well, the main difference between this story is that no one actually tried taking Rebekah for a wife. The king, however, at one point did learn that Isaac and Rebekah were not siblings, but husband and wife, and he sends for Isaac and says, "Why did you do this to us? If any one of them had taken her as a wife, they would have incurred wrath upon our nation. Here, Have some things, stay here, enjoy our hospitality, and the king passes along instructions. No one is to take Rebekah as a wife. She already is somebody else's wife. So, good bullet dodge there in Gerar. Isaac stayed in that land for quite a while, became rich, acquired a lot of animals, servants, just grew as a person. Kind of a plantation, in a sense, except he wasn't quite so settled. Still a little bit of a nomad. It is at this point where Isaac finally moves into Beersheba, a different region from where he had been. The Lord meets with him and promises him a significant amount of offspring, as he had promised his father Abraham, which makes sense. Isaac lived in Mamre, M-A-M-R-E, also known as Hebron, until he was 180 years old. So he had a pretty good long life. The story of Isaac and Rebekah is brought to us here out of Genesis 24 through 26. In other news, today is National American Red Cross Founders Day. Thank you for founding such an important organization. And National Waitstaff Day. So thank your service, your waiters and your waitresses, as they serve you. Sure, they're getting paid, but you know what? Their day can be a lot better if you, as a customer, are a better person to them. Just something to try out. Hope you've enjoyed this fun fact of the day. See you tomorrow.